Well, in some ways, Truman is a typical child if you just look from the outside. While he is bright and energetic and is in a typical classroom doing typical work, everything is harder. Everything. Most kids, they get up, they have cereal or whatever they have for breakfast. Well, Truman has a very severe feeding disorder as a result of being a preemie. So we have to fight for breakfast. We have to, feed him every single bite. All of his food has to be one texture at a time. He's doing all the same academic work as his peers, but it's all physically more difficult. He has a form of cerebral palsy. He also has something called visual motor delay, both consequences of being a preemie.
So yeah, we were both very excited.
A ton
happy. And during all the way up to about 23 weeks, there were no signs of any kind of difficulty at all.
The call to the doctor that, oh my gosh, something's wrong, was 29 minutes before he was born at Baylor.
We knew something was terribly wrong. I mean, she was cramping, she was hurting, crying out. My gut reaction was, we've lost this child.
And then we had to make a choice at that moment whether to resuscitate. Truman was born 5 months early at exactly 23 weeks, 0 days. He weighed 1 pound, 4 ounces. That's 20 ounces. That is the same thing as, if you think about a water bottle, it's the same thing as a water bottle. He was purple, limp. He didn't cry. He didn't try to breathe. He made no sounds.
I thought he was stillborn.
His eyes were still fused shut.
Well, that experience isn't anything that we would want to wish on anybody. Most parents, when they have a child, it's an experience of joy.
Well, nobody wants the birth of their child to be one of the worst experiences in their life. He had just about every complication you could have. Probably the most significant thing, though, that happened to Truman was somewhere between 3 days and 2 weeks of age, he suffered massive brain hemorrhaging. That is what gives him all of his challenges today, was the fact that he suffered brain damage. One thing I remember about the day that we left is that our nurse told us the earliest babies they would resuscitate were 23 weeks. And Truman was born about 4.5 hours into me being 23 weeks pregnant. So if this had occurred the day before, he would not have been resuscitated. He would not be here. And it really dawned on us the moment we brought him home that he's meant for something. Baylor, with their social worker, brought us around a document talking about all the things that we should expect that could happen with a 23-weeker, and it was a March of Dimes produced document.
In the 1980s, they produced surfactant, which helps premature babies breathe. And if that did not exist, Truman would not be alive today.
So we waited until Truman was 3 before we even thought about having other kids, and got pregnant with Elliot. I'd read all the March of Dimes material about what are the signs of labor. So when Elliot was born, he cried vigorously. He was moving and active. He was 3 pounds, 3 ounces, a much larger baby. So it was a very different story, and I think a lot of it was we recognized labor from the moment it started, and so we were able to get those interventions in place and stall his birth for about 4 days, which helped. It's made all the difference.
It's unlikely to think that even as well as he is doing, that he will come through the NICU experience and being born prematurely completely unscathed.
Corporations should realize that supporting the March of Dimes is very important. It's important to all pregnancies. So from a pragmatic perspective, it's important to you because you're going to have a lot of employees who have babies, frankly. Truman, his first year of life cost about $1 million to our insurers. $900,000 of that was NICU and about $100,000 in the year after for therapy. He still costs about $20,000 a year in therapy bills and special doctor's appointments. The community and people at large should support March of Dimes because we all have children. Even if you don't have children, there are children in your lives. The point of March of Dimes is to make sure that babies are born on time and without birth defects. That is the future of all of us.